Let's just see. This is called sacrifice.
There we go.
Can see the knee pops. Okay, stop now, John. I can't. You're going to make me vomit.
Take it off and put it next to me.
Welcome to episode 4 of the Box Office. We're here in sunny Marseille. It's beautiful out here at not our villa. It's the Box Office villa. It's fantastic out here. My guest is Jean de Villiers, centre extraordinaire. Marseille is a special place for him because he only lasted 7 minutes.
On my debut.
on his debut. On his debut.
I'd love this pair to be ours. Thanks for...
Yeah, it's nice. Eh?
just saying
what would you call it?
I don't know.
Eh? Let's talk about Paris. Actually, we're up in Paris.
No,
we
wait.
got Con.
Before
we
we
were in
get to
Paris or Belgium?
Yeah, we got Con. We didn't stay in Paris, but luckily from Thursday onwards, we did stay there. Beautiful. Paris is a beautiful spot. You know what?
It was the okay. Let's explain the backstory here.
Right.
When we got our mails, we told we were staying in Paris.
Yeah.
We thought Paris was Paris. We'll rock up there, taxi late. No. An hour and a half away, we wake up. We're on a farm in the French countryside. These beautiful horses, and about nothing else to do.
We might as well. We could have shot an like Big Brother or something like that there, because we were like isolated from the world for 5 days.
Yeah.
It wasn't that much fun.
No,
so you get it. You know when you know it's not going well, when you get to the hotel and then firstly they don't have rooms for anyone in the booking. Then okay, they find our rooms. Then one of the crew didn't have a booking. Then you go to the restaurant and they've got a restaurant. They just can't serve you food. You got Wi-Fi, but the Wi-Fi
restaurant's always closed. Yeah,
the Wi-Fi doesn't work. There's like nothing. You can't even walk anywhere or get anything. It was.
The Thursday when it was raining, I remember it was raining Thursday. I was sitting in my room. I'd watched everything on Netflix and this and that, and check back home what's happening, Super Sports, watch the highlights, watch rugby.
Yeah.
After a while, I just looked out, couldn't order room service, couldn't walk, couldn't go for a run.
Yeah.
Got in the taxi. I got in the taxi.
I can see you haven't been for a run for a while.
I phoned a banner. I was like, hey, he sorted me out with accommodation.
Yeah.
I left the farm there. It was probably out of, we've had a great trip so far, but probably the most depressing day I've had here.
It was depressing. And also the weather here in Marseille is just marvelous.
Yeah.
You know, and there it was a little bit colder. So when you have sunshine, it makes you feel so much better. But
Paris, the atmosphere at Stade de France?
Amazing.
Next level.
Incredible, unbelievable rugby experience. You know, yes, we lost the game as Springboks. Credit to Ireland for that performance. To the Irish crowd, staying behind, post-game, singing, celebrating. You know, it was like winning the World Cup for them. They didn't want to leave the stadium. That's kind of the atmosphere that you felt. And the intensity of the game itself, I suppose, represented kind of the feeling of a World Cup final as well. So, yeah, incredible thing. Can I tell you a quick story what happened? So, the nice thing, and you're the same, our families arrived this weekend. So we get back from the game, 9 o'clock game, get back to the hotel at like 1:45, okay?
With the kids?
With the kids.
Yeah.
Now my kids say, no, they want to see the Eiffel Tower because on Sunday we came back here to Marseille. Okay, take a cab, I don't know what, 30 euros, get to the Eiffel Tower, lights are switched off. The Eiffel Tower's
It's dark. A rumor.
Yeah.
It's a rumor.
So we still take a photo with the kids in the Eiffel Tower. You can hardly see the Eiffel Tower. 30 euros back home again to the hotel, went to bed.
So they didn't see it? Well, they would have seen it during the day, obviously.
Just can't see it on the photo.
What, you going to Photoshop the Eiffel Tower there?
Yeah.
Look, we had a good evening on the Friday. You went there with the families also. We took the boat cruise down.
Down the Seine.
Yeah, down the Seine. Eiffel Tower, all of that, wine, music. It was a proper great evening.
Again. I had to work again, you know.
More money, more problems, eh?
Yeah. Tell me...
More money, more problems.
Where's Skulk?
More money, more problems.
Where's Skulk?
I don't know.
Where's Skulk? Skulk, yeah. Gone like his hair.
I don't know. Where's Skulk?
I don't know.
Yeah, we'll see him. We'll catch up with him again.
He's not here today.
And our surprise guest is here. Jean de Villiers is smiling, his big mate. I tell you what, the two of you together with a couple of loggers are a handful. But Butch James, Springbok winning fly-off is here. Butchie, otherwise you well?
Hi, Butchie.
Otherwise well, Shimi. And you?
No, we're good here, you know, living the dream down south. How are things back home?
No, all good, man. When are you guys coming home, man?
Are you missing us?
Eh? Just for you guys, man.
No,
Are your guys' houses still in one piece there in the Cape?
yeah. Well, the weather here in Marseille at the moment is unbelievable. I'm gonna
looks
give
terrible.
I'm gonna give you. See there,
Have a look.
beautiful. Little bit different to what it's like in Cape Town at the moment. But Butchie, you were saying you're more comfortable sitting here on my lap than there with Chimmy, eh?
I think I'd be more comfortable on Shimmy's lap there.
Butchie, sorry, John said I must ask this question. His debut game in Marseille. You know, he said I must speak about it, get emotional about it. You guys
No, I didn't
got
say
to meet the first time, and it was this great love story and all of that. So how was that game for you guys in Marseille?
It wasn't great because Jean did his knee and we also lost to the French. So all in all, the only good thing that came out was that I did make a friend on that tour, yes.
Oh, beautiful.
Friends for
Beautiful.
life.
Friends for
Friends
life.
for life through rugby.
Butchie, and good memories of Stade Francais. Just the chat and the team bus on the way to the stadium between you and John.
Yeah, obviously I said to him, look, Barney, all I need from you today is to do the toss and leave the rest up to me. So
True story.
it wasn't very, but lots of good memories. I mean, obviously I haven't been fortunate enough to pop over there, but just watching on TV and seeing the different stadiums and recalling Marseille as well when we played the quarterfinals. So, I mean, it's been great memories, and it's a pity that I haven't been able to pop over there. But who knows? Maybe come playoff time, I might make a trip.
Butchie, going to the World Cup final at Stade de France, yourself and John, you lost the Super Rugby final earlier that year. Brian Abana scoring that try. I mean, was there a bit of chat between the two of you saying, well, hey, we got to pull this one through, or did you really not focus on that?
No, there was actually quite a lot of pressure. I think that not just that final, I played Super Rugby final 2001, and then in between that, I'd played a few Currie Cup finals and never actually won a trophy. So, the pressure was on to get through and to win. We had obviously beaten England 36-0 in the pool game. So, just that pressure to actually win and get it over the line was huge, especially for us individually. So, the relief once that final whistle went was huge that we eventually had got a victory in a final.
Which so much has been said here, but obviously the Springboks kicking, against Ireland. As a kicker, what's the emotional state when you're up there lining up a kick in a game of that magnitude? What's going through your mind?
Yeah, Shim, I think, you as a hooker as well, I think it's quite a similar pressure. Once you miss one or two, it definitely does play on your mind. Obviously, there's been a lot of talk about Manie's kicking as well in the press at every press conference that they go to. So it's really hard to try to put it out of your mind. The only thing you can do is go to the practice field and go through your routine that you're going to be doing on the field and make sure you're putting the hours in so that when you do go onto the field, it's almost second nature and you can just back that you've done the work and hopefully it goes over, So I think that's all you can expect from a kicker, that he puts in the time and the effort to practice. And then on the field, you just hope that his nerves can handle it and he goes through the same routine like on the practice field.
But how, because I think a lot of people look at Manie and then they say, well, if he's got a bad day in terms of the kicking, then they're like, no, he shouldn't be in the team. But I kind of feel in terms of his game as a fly-off, he's actually been playing really well. And yes, he's missed some kicks at goal, but just your view on Manie as the fly-off in terms of the way that he controls the game.
No, I thought he's been outstanding, and I really believe that our attack is the best it's been in the last almost 10 years. I can't remember the Springboks attacking so nicely.
Since your day.
Since your day, Butchie. Just say since your day.
Since your day.
When did we finish? 20... So 12 years. 12 years. No, No, I really don't recall it being so good. We got the muscle. We are a physical team, but we do have a bit of flair now as well. Chezin's try that we scored, they were all expecting our big runners in the middle, and it came out the back to Manie, and I think he's been running the show really, really well. And another aspect of his game that everyone does overlook has been his line kicking for me. I think his line kicking, especially from penalties, has been outstanding. You want the fly off to try get it as close to the 5-yard line as you can, and he almost puts it there wherever the penalty is. I think that's been a real underrated part of his play. Has been his line kicking. So I think it's a huge pity that he hasn't been kicking his goal, or Damien hasn't been kicking the goals, or Faf. If we had another kicker that was solid and getting that 80-85%. Everything would be hunky-dory, because I really do think it's unfair that he's playing so well, and it's just the goal kicking that's unfortunately letting him down and what he's being judged on at the moment.
But you just, we weren't, I certainly won't be able to pick up the technical stuff. So against New Zealand at Twickenham, he gets 100%. And then against France, obviously, it doesn't go his way. Have you picked up anything technically that you can say, look, if you were the kicking coach or someone, say, listen, yeah, this is what needs to be done better to any of our kickers?
I think with Manie, I would love to just see him try something. I just feel that his ball at the moment is too high, and also he's placing it too upright. It's not often that you'll see a goal kicker kick the ball higher than the poles are, and quite a few of his kicks do go that high.
His cooks, okay.
His cooks, yeah. Yeah.
I said to myself, I can't mess up one word in this interview because Jean's just going to laugh.
Yeah. No, he's the master at that.
I've got it out the way at least. Shimmy, I would like to see him just try that, like get his ball a little bit lower. There's nothing wrong with his strike. His run up, everything else is spot on, and I think it's just maybe one or two little tweaks, and he'll be a great goal kicker. So I think also the time clock seems to be worrying him as well. Often it looks to me from the TV angle that he's often looking to see how much time he's got left on the time clock. So maybe that's something he also can.
Then he almost gets rushed.
Yeah.
It's funny you say that, Butch. I received a message from another guy that played Tian Snyman. He played under 19. It's under 19. He was kind of a school prodigy coming through.
Clay Nas.
Yeah. And he was Afis. Yeah, he was a brilliant goal kicker. And he sent me a message saying exactly the same thing. He's saying, Manie just needs to get the ball a little bit closer to the ground. And he used the analogy of golf as well. When you tee it up with your driver, your margin for error is bigger. Whereas, you just go a 6-iron or a 7-iron closer to the ground or from the ground, and your margin for error is so much less. You might not kick it that far, but at least it won't be such a big difference in terms of where you're kicking it. And don't comment about my golf.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say.
Because we do know that it sprays everywhere.
How's your training for the Cape Epic going?
Not well, but I think my partner's going worse.
Yeah, I know. His partner's John Smith. He just has to push John up the hills the whole time, I reckon. Finish is good for you guys, eh?
No, the downhill finish, yeah.
The downhill finish. Maybe.
Yeah, but John, it's interesting that you got that message because, I do feel that, that's the one thing that I did pick up. First of all, was we remember that in the URC last year when they went through the semi-final. You can remember his last kick. It was marginal. It was pretty hard to tell if it had gone over or not because it had actually gone higher than the pole. So, for me, if he could get it a bit lower, I really think it would help him a lot.
And then, Butch, maybe in terms of a Handre Pollard back in the squad. Again, he's part of your squad as a World Cup winning fly-off. He's got the experience. He's done it before. He's been able to kick under pressure. but obviously hasn't played a lot of rugby in the last couple of months. Just your view on that. Do you think there's a possibility that they could use both of them in the same 23?
Yeah, but I think the other option would be to play Handre at number 12. I just think it's a real tough one, and I think our number 12s at the moment, Handre and Damien, both give us so much go forward at that number 12 position. I don't think Handre will be able to offer us the same go forward as those two would. But in saying that, obviously, it would sort out our goal kicking. Hopefully, I mean, we all expecting Handre to come up on there. Like we all know, he hasn't played a lot of rugby in the last year. I think he's only played 40 minutes in the last couple of months. So for him to come back onto the field and get all his kicks, play well, it's quite a bit of pressure on him as well. But we do know that he's got the experience, so who knows, maybe that would carry him through. So it's a real tough call. I think this weekend might help us with that call. I'm sure he'll get a start against Tonga, and then we can go from there. But I really do feel sorry for Manie. I mean, going back to our World Cup, we were really fortunate that we had Monty at fullback kicking for us. So there was no pressure on someone like myself at playing at fly-off. All I could do was worry about the way we played and so on. And we knew that Monty would get all the kicks.
What was your kick percentage, Butch?
101%, Shim.
I thought you'd say that. Butch, what's impressed you about this World Cup? Okay, let me say, which players impressed you? Doesn't have to be a Springbok.
No, I think I've been impressed by the minnows. I think someone like Chile and Uruguay have been the two teams for me that have been really impressive. And then, of course, Fiji as well, which everyone was really expecting coming into the World Cup. I think when they didn't beat Wales, everyone was pretty disappointed. But I think the way Wales played this last weekend against a poor Australian team, it must be said, it just shows how good that actual Fijian game against him was. So for me, the team has been Fiji so far, but I've also loved watching Chile and Uruguay. So yeah, individually, I think a lot of guys are standing up and putting their names in the hat there for player of the tournament. So it's going to be interesting. I think playoff time will.
We need names, Butch. We need names.
Give us a name. Give us a player.
You've been very, very general. We need a player.
I don't know. I don't think he had the best game on the weekend. I think for me, the player so far of the tournament has been Bandi Aki. I think especially this last weekend, he really played well and has really given Ireland that go forward and that little bit of physicality.
That's a good answer, Butchie. Very good answer.
Butchie, just not to put you under pressure, the best outside centres and outside backs you've played with?
I played inside centre.
No, I said centres.
Number 12 is Trevor Holstead, Brad Barrett. Who else is there?
So you're breaking up. You're breaking up.
Give me more names. So Trevor Holstead, Brad Barrett.
Yeah, Ollie Barkley. Yeah. Yeah.
Any more? Just give me three more names. Kobani Bobo, give me three more names.
Jeez, I'm
Joe Gillingham, Peter Miller, David Barry.
Did you play with Henny LaRue?
David Barry.
Okay, Butchie, we've had enough of you. We're running out of. Yeah, okay, thank you very much.
Probably top 10, eh?
Friendship gone.
Yeah. Friendship gone. So I thought you guys were best buddies. You met at Marseille. You know, he gave you a hug when he got injured.
And your best hookers?
Shimmy.
No, rugby. Okay, bye. Bye, Butchie. How do I switch it off?
Butch.
How do I switch it off?
Butch, thanks very much, man. It's been great chatting to you. Hopefully we see you in France. We're going to continue the show here down at the Villa in Marseille. It's beautiful out here. It's sunny. And we're going to enjoy it further. So enjoy it, Butchie. And we'll chat later, bud.
Cheers.
Cheers. Okay. interesting views there.
Those
the
are the
file.
thoughts of our surprise guest, Butch James. Good to hear from him.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's interesting to hear his thoughts on the fly-off. I think that's kind of the general feeling as well of Manie playing well as a player and
Phenomenal.
and kicking it. And to be fair, when he misses kicks at goal, it doesn't really affect his game,
No.
which is a positive. So, as we've been saying for a long time now as well, I think the strategy needs to change maybe a little bit, and that can take the pressure off from whoever kicks that goal. Remember, Faf also missed 2. So, but I mean, it's...
Yeah, John, I suppose it's the topical thing at the moment. For me, I look at it and I say, okay, this guy's gone through adversity, couldn't get an opportunity at the Bulls, didn't get an opportunity at the Sharks, comes to the Stormers, drives them to 2 finals in a campaign. He's the kicker. He does well, gets into the box mix through all the hard work he's put, and he's also gone through adversity. It hasn't been easy. Does well. For me, I'd back him as a 10 and say this guy can do it. He's did it a month ago, whatever, against the All Blacks. He's driven the Stormers forward. If it's a technical issue, then it's fixable.
Yeah.
That's all it is. I think we got some good insight from Butch. The kicking over this, talking about hitting golf balls and all that stuff you guys were talking about. For me, it's very fixable. It's a very fixable issue. It's topical for this week. And 80 minutes is a long time in rugby. He comes out now against Tonga, plays against Tonga, gets it right, it's sorted. You got him and Pollard as our 2 kickers. Faf can also kick.
Yeah.
Villiers can also kick. Villiers also was, when he was a full-time kicker, actually kicked nicely for Province as a 19-year-old.
Yeah.
It's just whether how long you do it for.
How did you fix those googlies you were throwing in the line-out?
I never did really.
No.
I never did.
You had the ability to swing them both ways
It was
as well.
in swinger. I'd throw it past the contesting pod, around the corner, and then it would straighten up at the end.
Yeah, sure, you did.
No, but it's interesting about the pressure. I mean, George Gregan, we had a chat with him, and he was saying, as a fly-off in your first international season, it can be a lonely place in front of that tee box. Trying to go off there, but I think it's positive. I think the fact that what Butch was saying in terms of the attack and how that's gone forward. For me, that's the ultimate positive. A Springbok team with such a dominant set piece, and they can still score tries is very dangerous.
But going away from the fly-off role specific and looking at the performance of the Boks and Ireland, would it not have made more sense? You have the 7-1 split, so in other words, you've got 2 packs. You want to apply pressure from a set phase point of view. You can work them as hard as you can.
You put them in the hurt locker, basically.
Yeah, and as soon as they get tired, you take them off. So wouldn't it not have made more sense that, like we did against New Zealand at Twickenham, when you get the penalties, and especially those long-range penalties, you kick it out, you maul it, you apply that pressure, force them into giving away penalties, you kick it out again, hopefully another penalty that eventually leads to a yellow card, or you get points from that. And only the kicks that is kind of a guarantee do you take. Because at line-out time and at scrum time, we had them under pressure, but then we get a penalty, and where in the past, you kick at goal, you get 3 points, you build scoreboard pressure, you go 3-6-9, hopefully a try, you go to 16 kind of thing. Whereas now, when you miss those kicks, all the pressure goes off.
Yeah.
So keeping the pressure could have been done, but in a different way. And maybe that's where they'll go next time around.
But, John, I think with the benefit of hindsight, it's easy to say that.
Yeah.
But when you do line up a kick, you're not lining it up to miss. The thought is the kicker says, I've got that, this and that. I think when you pick up the trends in the game and the storyline, you decide. I'll give you an example. When we were 3-0 up, there was a try I think we butchered close to on the right-hand side.
Yeah.
When there was a knock-on. We scored that try, get that kick, 10-0 up.
Yeah.
Then it's a different game.
Yeah.
We weathered a storm in the beginning, and then Ireland, luckily our contesting was good. We got that. But the physicality of that game for me is something I remember we were sitting in the commentary box. I think it was a Jasper Visa carry, then Sia carried the ball, and then Eben and someone.
Damien Delendy.
Yeah, it was brutal there.
Yeah. No, I'm pretty sure there would have been some very, very sore bodies post-game on Sunday for both those teams, because the physicality and just the intensity of the game was right up there. That could have been a World Cup final any day.
Did Ireland surprise you with the physicality? Because they had their moments. They had the cup of tea in terms of physicality.
I don't think they surprised us. I think you expected that from them. They're a quality team, well coached. you don't have weaknesses within that squad, and I think it's the kind of the bravery that you saw as well. I mean, because rugby essentially is a game you know you're going to be knocked over a couple of times. You need to be able to dish it out as well, but it's being able to get up all the time and go at it again and kind of not start stepping back, because that's what you want as the opposition team.
Standout players for you
On
both sides.
Pucci mentioned it there. Banyaki,
He got the big moment, that break down the middle.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And also, we spoke beforehand about his role within the Irish setup, giving a platform to attack from, because they attack so many times, or their plan moves off the second and third phase. So he was big. Damien Delende on the other side as a 12. I mean, he could easily have been man of the match as well.
Yeah.
Because he had a really big game for the Boks. Couple of carry. I mean, that carry where first Ringrose, then Sexton came in, both of them down. He was brutal. Jasper with a couple of big carries. Damien Willemse as a fullback.
I thought this was Willemse. I thought he was a standout player for me from a South African
His
point
decision making,
incredible.
So I think he's the kind of player where he really is a world class rugby player.
Yeah.
And I think for so long we've now wondered, is he a 10, is he a 12, is he a 15? I think 15 eventually is his position.
Yeah.
So he's settling there, but you need to play there more to get used to seeing the same pictures and then being able to act on that and execute that decision. And he did that so his decision making was really good. When to attack, when to beat one-on-one, when to put the kick through, etc., etc. And in the air, solid as well. So very, very solid game from him.
For me, Willemse is one of those players where he's too good to leave out, John.
Yeah, I agree.
It's one of those. He's too good to leave out the 23 or the starting 15.
Yeah.
Whether he's at fullback, fly half, depending on who's around him, and at 12. He's just, from an athletic point of view, what I enjoyed most is his mindset, his ability. He wants to beat the man in front of him.
Yeah.
He'll back himself to go. Probably attracts 2 defenders. He can get that offload away if he doesn't beat you clean.
Yeah. No, a phenomenal rugby player, and also he doesn't shy away from, so good attacking player.
Not scared of contact.
Doesn't shy away from the defense and contact at all. So, no, quality player. I mentioned a couple of backs there, obviously. I'll just throw another name in there that'll make you very happy.
Yeah.
In Oxen Chair.
Brilliant.
The impact that he made when he came on immediately. And I think, again, just looking at the opposition, it just suited him perfectly.
Yeah.
Furlong, bit of a taller, tight head. Ox was able to get underneath him.
The backs is talking about scrums again.
But I'm learning. I'm learning a lot.
No, but you sort of, when I saw him, the substitute, the timing of the sub was perfect.
Yeah.
Because as he came on, it was right-hand scrum, Ireland put in, so you needed someone an attacking loose head there so they can get the turnover. Oxenchair, as soon as he gets underneath the chest of Furlong, the motion comes through him and Bongi straight over the top. Penalty, but just probably couldn't, take advantage of it though. But
and it does come down to the, small moments in that game. We spoke beforehand about the loss of Malcolm Marx and now Dion Fourie and a Marco van Staden needing to fill the void at 2. We get that one in the last 5 minutes, attacking line out on their 5 meter line. Now you're missing, and that's the worst thing for a captain.
Yeah.
You're missing kicks at goals. You decide to go touch line, get the line out on the 5, and we miss the line out.
Yeah.
So both your options gone.
But I'll give one thing to Dion Fourie. That last ball, that's pressure.
Yeah.
To win the game, they called the back ball.
Yeah, and he made it.
And perfect, brilliant throw, hit it at the back. That last maul, we got to talk about that, and we'll talk about the refereeing now. That last maul, John, that ball was okay. Was it out? Because I think it was.
Look, the
not to say we're going to score the try.
No, the whistle blew.
But was the ball available?
I think there was, again. I think that's such a good reflection of the game, in that the margins were so small. The ref blew his whistle and then the ball was out, or was the ball out and then the whistle blew, kind of thing.
I thought the ball was out. I thought exactly as soon as that happened, I thought, okay, here we go.
Yeah.
Pick and drive, more pressure. But what an ending this would have been.
In everything,
I felt almost it's a bit of an anticlimax.
Yeah, but in everything we're saying, I think the Boks will take confidence.
Yeah.
Dion Fourie being able to, high pressure situation, being able to chuck the thing right, pinpoint, get the line out, get so close to scoring the try. couple of opportunities lost within the game to score tries. Make a bit of a change in terms of strategy. Suddenly you get more points. So the result didn't go our way, as was the case in 2019 against the All Blacks. But there were a couple of moments, and back then it was basically 12 minutes where the All Blacks dominated, scored 2 tries. And this time around, moments in the game that if you rectify that, and it's things that could easily be rectified, you change that and suddenly the result is different as well.
Ben O'Keefe ref the game, let it flow. I think Rassie tweeted a public apology to the fans, obviously, and also saying, I've got a chair, saying, the promising the fans they're going to work harder, but also congratulating the ref, Ben O'Keefe. Were you impressed by him?
You know what I like about, because I had I had the earpods in and could hear him throughout the game.
Yeah, it's comms.
His comms. As a player, you just want clear communication.
Yeah,
and that for me was good. You were able to adapt according to what he's saying, and if they ask questions, then clarify why that decision was made. So I think all in all, I think one of the better performances. Were there some mistakes? Well, again, that's debatable, and probably he did make mistakes.
For me, I just felt for a team that's set piece based like South Africa, a lot of things were let go at the scrum. So, for example, scrum collapsed, the ball's at the back,
and
play
just
on.
Play on.
I struggle with that because if it's collapsing for a reason, same way more would, then you got to make a decision either way, whether it's Ireland's way or South Africa's way. Make a decision. Rather don't hold back.
Because also when a scrum collapses, when do you penalise and when don't you?
Yeah.
So just because the ball is further back in the and again it's more a question than a statement, I suppose. Is it because the ball is at the 8th man's feet, and if the ball collapses, then you don't penalise? I don't get that. And again, that's why I don't comment on that, because you're the expert in terms of scrummaging.
Well, you're talking about Ox earlier on, and the scrumming. It was actually, you got your points right. You're doing well. I'm proud of you. You're doing well. France, the talking point, Dupont. And the mask or the injury. If you look at it, it's 87% success rate when he starts, wins.
That's a proper record.
Yeah.
And how many?
Can the Boks kill the fairy tale?
I think they can.
In the fairy tale.
I definitely think they can. I think what eventually will happen, I think he will participate in the playoffs. I think he'll play in the playoffs. Dupont.
Yeah. Dupont or Dupont.
Well, now suddenly you're fluent at French.
No, Dupont.
Dupont.
That's the name. Dupont.
Dupont. I think he'll play, but I think we can still beat them.
Yeah.
Whether he plays or not. Sometimes you rely so much on a player, and then when he eventually comes back, then you think, okay, well, he's going to win it for us. That's never the case. And conversely, if he's not there, they actually up their game a little bit.
The only question mark I've got around this French team is when last did they tour South Africa or New Zealand? They've got a good record. They've done well. But it's all up here.
Well, when was it? 2017 that they toured South Africa? I think it was 2017, yes. Correct.
And we won,
and
I think
we won the series. One in Durban.
Was
it one in...
When last did they tour New Zealand?
I don't know.
I think the difference also is that this Ireland team has developed a hard edge through being on the road together. The series when they've gone 6 nations. There's a level of consistency. I'm not sure this French, because when you tour also, Dupont might get injured. You give someone else a chance. He has to, in a tough test match series. I just wonder, all their victories, all their success has been at home. Obviously, the World Cup is at home, but it's a different beast. It's a different pressure.
Yeah.
And whether they can handle that or not.
I had questions on their squad prior to the tournament starting. So, starting 15, really good. I had question marks on who they replace when they get injuries. But after that first game against New Zealand, without Dante, without Intermac, without Marchand, without Willems,
those are big names.
Big names, losses, and a proper performance. Well, not a great performance in terms of style and the game itself, but to be able to beat the All Blacks in a pressure cooker like that, opening game of the World Cup, that takes a bit of mental edge, and they were able to do that. If you lose Intermac and Dupont
and Marchand and Willems,
I don't know. They've ticked the boxes previously. With this one, it's a bit different. But then again, like I said, he'll probably be playing in the playoffs.
Have you ever broken a cheekbone?
Never a cheekbone. Broke my jaw twice though.
Was that the Tupoki punch?
No, it wasn't.
What? How bad is it? I've never.
No, so
I've eye socket at what's it? Burst an eye socket.
yeah.
That wasn't. Oh well, I only knew the next day, to be honest with you, because
And
I
are
was
they
trying to blow my nose and my eye almost popped out. And
Really?
I was in hospital the next
When
day.
they're going to fix it?
No, it's fixed.
Is it?
It's fixed. Okay, broken jaw. Okay,
No, so
'cause-
I broke my jaw in the World Cup 2015
yeah.
against Samoa. Next day, I retired from international rugby.
It didn't help you lose weight though.
Yeah, but no, it did. It did. So, what was it? 7 weeks prior to that, I also broke it, but just on the one side against Argentina.
Yeah.
Didn't have an op and was able to play again. But then the following week, play one game and then the following week against Samoa broke it again, and then broke it both sides. So I think they definitely. Well, I can't say definitely. I'm not a doctor, but I think there will be risk that if he plays, and obviously he doesn't have a cheekbone, a jaw. He's got a cheekbone. It is different, but there must be risk that you re-injure it, because at the end of the day, it's bone, and it takes time to heal.
It always reminds me of the same way we were trying to get Sia ready for this competition, and he's playing well. I tell you what, it's an amazing for what he's done coming through that injury and the kind of rugby he's playing now.
Yeah.
It's next level. Talking about knees, how's that knee looking of yours?
No, it's just loose. It's loose.
Show us your potty trick.
No, I can't. You can't do that on here.
How,
The mic's in the way. Yeah.
let's just see. This is called sacrifice.
There we go.
Can see the knee pops. Okay, stop now, John. You're going to make me vomit.
Take it off and put it next to me.
The Wallabies.
Yeah.
Worst World Cup performance ever. It's just been a downward spiral. I personally find it quite sad to see. Look, obviously Eddie came out.
But sad, as in like cry sad, or?
Oh no,
like
sad as in. I mean,
Sad
they're
to-
World Cup winners.
Yeah.
Australia, the Wallabies we
Twice.
grew up watching.
Yeah.
You look at. We know Griggs has been on shows with us. Larkham, Daniel Herbert, Timmy Horan, Joe
John
Rolfe,
Eales.
John Eales,
Nick Farr-Jones.
Yeah. You can go and the list goes.
Willie
on.
Offengo.
Exactly, the list goes. Give me one more. Give me
Yeah.
one. Andrew Walker.
Tim Oren. Jason
Little.
Little. Michael Lana.
But it goes on and on. Now, for them to get knocked out of a World Cup, and also, let me talk about, okay, they knocked out the World Cup, but the performance, John.
Yeah.
The performance.
It's again, you look at Australian rugby and you think of Australian rugby and you think of the glory days.
Yeah.
You think of that team, 91. You think of 99. You think of, you think of Griggs tackling Jeff Wilson in a Bledisloe game and dislodging the ball. And, I just think it's a very different Australia now. What was the stat that we got yesterday? Since 2015,
38%.
38% win record, Australia.
So this has been coming a long time.
So it's not something that, where you say, okay, we've got the players, we've been successful, Eddie Jones will come in and he'll win us a World Cup. I think it was a bit of a punt that Eddie took to say, okay, I'm going to, we're going to talk the talk, but they're not able to walk the walk. I don't know if he's got the resources to
walk.
To do that,
Yeah.
and maybe
To walk the talk.
to walk the talk, to talk the walk, whatever you want to do. It's look, you in it, you enjoy it when you're winning, and as a coach you get celebrated, and Eddie's certainly been very successful at times. I mean, you need to take this on the chin as well. It is a young side, it is an inexperienced side. And individual and collective performance has just been extremely poor.
Also an organizational issue, I think. We've been there in South African rugby also. When we've been low. I mean, you look at, when we got 50 or 60 from New Zealand. We've had some dark times. I think, since this new regime came in, it's actually looked good. You look at the performance of the Springboks. There was a stage where I think the Springboks were number one, the Sevens was number one. Our juniors were doing well. It's the whole system that carries the national team, not just one individual. And I just think from an Australian point of view, you got to be wary of it. Everybody thought Eddie Jones was the hero.
Yeah.
The organisation, Irish rugby is not as well. Obviously, there's a contributing factors. Farrell's done well. You know, they've had, I think it was a Joe Schmidt before that, but this has been a build-up, you know, academy
Yeah.
systems, all of that. Australia have missed a trick here, and they can fix it, I think.
Yeah, it's like any organisation in that you go through cycles.
Yeah.
And I think luckily for us as South Africa, we normally go through the down cycles in between World Cups. Maybe, maybe one World Cup where we did poorly, but still, you know, you made the playoffs every single time. To perform like that in a World Cup where you don't have an extremely difficult road to the playoffs and still not make it through.
It's a dream draw.
Yeah.
It's a dream draw.
You know, that I think is a disappointing thing. So, you know, he's got the long-term vision. Whether he will be there or not, that's the question now. So if you're saying you're building and then you bail, a couple of months after you started, that'll be disappointing.
Do you think he'll leave? Do you think he'll leave?
I don't know.
I mean, there's rumours of Japan. You know,
No.
you negotiate. He's. I think it's been denied though. I think Phil War said it's rubbish. The CEO. Do you think he'll leave?
So the thing is, if you're promising a long-term view and you select the long-term view and then you
put a young team in, then you got to
that'll be
stick.
disappointing. But
It's professional
it's a job,
sports,
eh?
eh?
Yeah, it's a
I
job.
mean,
so
Bernard Foley also tweeted it didn't have to be like this, and the backstory to that is Bernard Foley could have been there, Quade Cooper could have been there, Hooper could have been there,
James O'Connor,
maybe.
Just from experience.
So you've got the experience there. You got a bit of experience.
So
Now you went
that-
with this
yeah.
youth thing. Is it? Do you develop youth in a World Cup? Or do you say, listen, pick the team that's going to win. The rest we'll deal with later. You don't develop in World Cups.
But
in my
have you come across a coach that selected a team not thinking that they could win?
Exactly. Yeah.
So, you know,
Yeah.
that's what he thought would be the right thing. So success is kind of determined and viewed in a different way as well. We don't know what success looks like for them and what they're working towards, but certainly in terms of this campaign and a Rugby World Cup being such a big moment in any rugby player's life, disappointing. And from a viewer and a fan point of view.
It's the big. You remember last year, Bledisloe Cup game? Australia just won a penalty to kick
Bernard
into touch.
Foley.
Yeah, they would have won the Bledisloe Cup, am I
Yeah.
right? For the first time in 19 or 20 years.
And Reynal blew them.
Reynal changed
yeah.
it around. I still wonder if they had won that Bledisloe Cup, if Dave Rennie would have been there. If we still would have been coached. Because, you look at it now and you think, gee, the results he was getting, they were the nearly team. You know, that team loses between 3 and 7 points every game. And it just needed something just to take over. And I always thought that this would be the World Cup that it takes over, especially with the draw.
Ifs and buts.
Ifs and buts.
Yeah,
Exactly.
didn't happen.
England?
So now they need to deal with
It's
it.
coming home. England, confident.
Well, again, not
Confident.
again. Firstly, congratulations to how do you pronounce
Arundel.
it? Arundel.
Arundel, yeah.
Arundel. It's like Frozen. Have you watched Frozen movie?
No.
Is that place called Arundel?
Maybe my
where
kids
they
have.
live? Yeah, I watched it with my daughters like a million times.
Arundel.
5 tries in one game at a World Cup. That is pretty special. So congratulations to him and his family and the team for that performance.
Marcus Smith was good.
Yeah.
At fullback?
Smith, good.
Tougher opposition. Do you put him at fullback?
I don't know. But again, they started the game quite poorly and then only got into it later on. So, look, Smith, we've seen what he can do taking the ball to the line. Now with a little bit more space, he's got the pace, he's got the skill set.
But you got Ford, Farrell, and Smith. You can't have all three.
No, you can't.
You can't.
No, definitely not in a starting team.
Yeah.
So what they do now, in the next game and what team they select, that will be a good indication as to how they'll go playoffs time. Stewart, for me, is their best 15. So why move your best 15 to wing to accommodate someone else? And the same debate for fly-off.
Yeah.
Why move your best fly-off to accommodate someone else? Select or move your best 12 to accommodate another fly-off in. So that those decisions will determine where they go and how far they go in this comp.
Okay, prediction time. Let's look ahead. Not this weekend. Quarterfinals. So South Africa against France.
South
All
Africa,
Blacks.
France,
Okay.
New Zealand, Ireland, England. plays Fiji.
Yeah.
Wales plays Argentina.
Okay, Wales, Argentina. Who wins that?
I'm
I'll go
not gonna go Argentina because they've disappointed me so much.
Yeah.
I'm not angry. I'm just disappointed.
But Wales also, well done to Wales for
They've done well.
that. Yeah.
And they're playing a type of rugby that wins you games in World Cups.
Yeah.
Conservative, big defensive efforts, and a good. So Wales, I go Wales.
England, Fiji. Wow, can Fiji do it again?
Surely not. I'm going Fiji.
I'm going Fiji. What was the other one? It was
South Africa,
New Zealand,
France.
Ireland.
I think New Zealand's got one big game in there.
Yeah, I think the New Zealanders can upset them, and then
But then again, it's so
France,
difficult.
South Africa, France.
It's so difficult to go against Ireland. It's so difficult to go against Ireland at the moment.
So if we beat France, who do we play in the semis?
Then we play. Flip. We need to get this right. I think then we play. It'll be Wales, or will it be Fiji?
We'll figure it out. We'll figure it out anyway.
Figure it out eventually.
But the dream final for us. Look, I've always thought the dream final would be us against France in the final. But I think there's only one. You know,
we will play in the final.
We will play in the final.
The quarterfinal.
Yeah. So we'll see. We'll see who will bring. Nice to chat to Butchie though. One or two questions.
Yeah.
I forgot to ask whose biggest hit was against. You played with him. Who do you think that the biggest hit was?
Oh, his biggest hit.
Yeah, he put in.
I can't remember. Yeah, he put in
He's
so many over the years, but I can't remember the individuals who we actually tackled. But she wasn't scared of tackling.
It was nice to have a fluff that looked after you. It's like a hooker having a very good tight end. You were lucky there.
Let's target the fly off.
No. Which was the one fly off you wanted to avoid?
Yes, exactly.
Okay, so we're about to close the box office now. Great to have a surprise guest, Butch James. Skalkberger still missing out, enjoying France. But the box office is closed. This was episode 4 from the Villa in Marseille. Don't forget to register for your Fantasy 15 team on the World Rugby app. We will catch you next week. I think we're going to a wine farm next week.
We're going to a wine
farm. It's about time someone invites us to a wine farm. So we'll be coming live from the wine. Well, not live. We'll be coming from the wine farm next week. It's going to be fantastic. Jean, will certainly be there with me.
Don't tell them who the guest will be next week.
We won't tell you the guest is next week. It will be a surprise guest. But Butch James, the man that won a World Cup in Stade de France, was here with us. 101 kicking percentage. He told us who his best centers were. And John wasn't even in the top 10. Unbelievable. But hookers I was. So great show, guys. We'll catch you next week for episode 5. If you want to see more, check John and I out on After Hours. Check out the clip here. The box office is now closed.